What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Quantum Show. It is the run up to the Wildman Conference next week. So, I want to talk about cryptids. And also, just so you know, at the end of the show, stick around. I got an outro video to show y'all, courtesy of The Unknown. Hell yeah. And so, thank you, Raven. Welcome, everyone, to the chat. Raven, DJ Wardove, Sarah Stafford, Samo's here. And let me see. I think Monty. Yeah, big hairy aliens. What's up, Monty? I didn't even see you there. You were one of the first people in here. You and Samo. My bad. And I believe that's everybody for now. I'm expecting other people to show up, though. There are a lot of other shows of the paranormal variety on tonight, right now. I don't know why. I took this. Hey, Aussie, what's up? I took this slot because nobody else was using it, and I don't want to step on anybody's show times. So, alrighty then. But stay tuned at the end of the show. Got a cool outro video. I think most of us here will appreciate it. I sure did. I watched it, and it is great. Okay. So, Wildman Conference. I really don't know what to expect. There's going to be plenty of presentation. I'm going to go and let me do this real quick. So, I'm going to bring up the page that shows what's going on over there. And yeah, this is the Wildman Conference, and I'm going to show y'all what's going on here. This is where you buy the tickets, right? And $5 gets you in the door, but that's about all. The 200, not doing that. I'll catch Jesse and Joe on the way out. Who? Hellbent Holler, right? I'll catch Hellbent on the way out. I'm hoping to catch them hanging out, right? Just hang out in the lobby or something of the event center. And it's coming up the 16th. It's the 9th. I got it on my calendar up here. I'm making a weekend of it. So McMinville is not far from here. And well, this is the tickets. Links in the description to this, by the way. So let me go ahead and bring up their Facebook just so I can say I have. And this is them, link in the description. Go hit like on their page, Tennessee Wildman and Cryptid Con. So they have, let's see here. Who is going to be there? We got R. Scott Nelson, Tim Coonbro Baker, Hellbent Holler, MK Davis, Chester Moore, Daryl Denton, Martin Groves. It'll be great to see Martin again. I think I will buy him a decaf if he is drinking coffee. Linda Eastburn, Randy Hutchings, David Eller, Harley Owens, Janice Carter. Who we got? I can't read. Okay, let me do that. Dewey Edwards, Kelly Schaefer, Kelly Schaefer, and Matt Sieber. Okay, that is who's going to be there. And let's see what other pictures. Okay, these are the pictures from their Facebook page. Hellbent Holler. They're nice guys. Let me tell you, they're fun. They played along when I touched their faces. Jesse and Joe. Yep. Jesse and Joe Doyle. Meet Jesse and Joe Doyle. Fearless, dynamic duo behind Hellbent Holler, a cutting-edge research team that's been exploring the most baffling mysteries of the southern Appalachian Mountains. With over 20 years expertise in field investigation and the occult, they're on a mission to uncover the truth behind Sasquatch and Dogman sightings, ghost lights, and other paranormal activity here in the Southeast. Join them on their thrilling quest for answers as they push the boundaries of conventional research and spark a new era of discovery. They really are nice guys, right? And I liked hanging out with them for the 3 minutes or whatever. Okay, that's it for the pictures. I'll leave those pictures up. Bring them up for a minute, just while I'm talking. And yeah, hope you like the thumbnail. It took quite a few tries to get that right. And I asked for a female dogman. That confuses the AI. I had to ask for a female werewolf in space armor. And it worked. I finally got it to work. So, and you can ask Gemini to review a show. You can ask it to review a show, and it will wrap it up into a summarized thing for you to read. And then you can plug it into another function to let it read that out loud. It's pretty cool. And yeah, it was really neat to have it summarize my show over the Unimatrix Human. I asked it to look at the Unimatrix Human, and it critiqued me as much as it talked about it, right? It zips through what it says, and it doesn't really look at the visuals of everything. It looks at the words, and I believe it's using the closed caption generated words. I'm not sure, but okay. There we go. That's a neat picture. Now, this is CryptidCon, not just Bigfoot. This is everything. Where is my window? Not that one. Go ahead and, hey, Sky. Unknown. I knew you were going to be here. Ben Yorkshire, GUFOnian. All right. I'm so glad people are coming around. Thanks for coming around, y'all. And so, yeah. Oh, Samuel's having car trouble. That sucks. Sorry to hear that, man. If you have a car, you have car trouble. That just seems to be the way it is. So, okay. But yeah, if you're following the channel, I did my breaks but in the time I did my breaks, I saw that the sway bar links aren't quite right. So I'm going to add some bushings to them. I got them sitting over here. And that's it. Just bushings. I don't even need to add washers. Just put a couple of rubber bushings just to take up that space. So anyway, I'm going in a week, and it's going to be fun. Like I said, I'm making a weekend of it, and hopefully I can talk to Jesse and Joe. That would be fun. I'll have a beer with them. That's cool. They are local. I don't think they're Tennessee, honestly. I don't know if they're Tennessee or I don't know where they live, but they investigate their backyard just like I do. And they got plenty to work with. So I'm going to talk to them about the psychic and mental aspects. Last week, we didn't talk much about the mind speak psychic element of cryptids, Bigfoot, Dogman in particular, right? We didn't talk about that. We didn't get to. And I want to rectify that this week. So I'm going to be talking some mind speak and telepathy, because there's just one person that came to me. I took a report. I tried to take a report. This person was so biased in their opinion that it colored every word they said. She was convinced that these things are Bigfoot are fallen angels, and nothing could sway her. And I didn't want to talk about it. I got as much information. Here was the report. They were living here in Tennessee, out in the woods somewhere. I did not get a location. And this person's mother, apparently, and her are both empathic or telepathically sensitive. So they don't know anything about shielding or mental disciplines or, hey, Renee. Yeah. I'm going to go check McMinville. I'm going to walk around. But okay, she was talking about how the Bigfoot got into her mom's head, and not intentionally, but here's what I gathered from what she said. What she said was very disjointed and opinionated. So I have to filter and make sense of it. She said Bigfoot got in her head and made her crazy. What does that mean? And does she have any mental disciplines? Has she ever learned how to form coherent thoughts, visualization of words, concepts of words? These things are part of the psychic ability discipline. There is a discipline in there, because if you have somebody coming, and I've had it happen, oh, it's not fun. When you have somebody coming into your head and you pick up on a thought, it feels bad, okay? And you're not expecting it. It feels bad. It's not you. It's a violated feeling. Even if it's just an accident, there's a feeling. My reaction was I felt like I was being intruded upon and violated. So in 2 instances, I set up rudimentary defenses. And that rudimentary defense was a song stuck in my head. The first time it happened, it didn't last. I didn't need it that long, and I was able to turn it off. The next time it happened, I couldn't turn it off for 2 years. It drove me crazy. I cannot stand to hear that song. I don't even want to talk about the title, but it was Led Zeppelin. And yeah, iced coffee with mushrooms in it today. I got the mushroom coffee going on because this is a deep one for me. So she was telling me that she didn't know how to she didn't know how to deal with it. And so she got angry and snappish and almost abusive. Well, I will reference my show, Focus and Filter. Focusing and filtering, that will set up. When you focus, you pick one voice to listen to. This is a psychic thing. This happens. If you think you're hearing voices and going crazy, you might be psychic. Okay? Don't think that the muggles, what they're telling you, they don't know how this thing is. Most of us know. I know for sure. And this is not me making sense of insanity and justifying it. This is me experiencing something and dealing with it. If a dog runs up to you, you don't deny there's a dog running up to you. You deal with it, right? Same type of encounter, except this is a mental one. When you focus, you tunnel vision yourself to that one presence, voice, concept, whatever, right? And when you filter, you say stop and you let what you want through, and you set up a guideline. This is why it's called a discipline, because it takes practice, mental exercises. Okay, I don't mean just count to 10 backwards, forwards, or whatever. No, that's mathematics. I'm talking discipline of thought, keeping your mind clear, focusing on one concept that you want to push forward, or a consciousness stream. That might be skipping ahead a little bit. You have to, the mantis talk, the mantis contact that I had, right? I wasn't talking to him with words. I was talking to him in concepts of words using emotion. It was quite interesting. And I think I've got a better handle on it now than ever. So when I go out, I'm shielding all the time. So when I go out and I'm in a bunch of people, I can shield myself, because before, if I wasn't shielding, I would have panic attacks, anxiety attacks. My heart rate would go up. Your classic anxiety, blood pressure, sweating, confusion, anxiety attack. It would just happen. Then I learned to shield. I learned why it was important, because my receiver was open and I was hearing all these things. I had to put it into words for it to make sense. So once I made sense of it, then I was able to deal with it. But it's also a mental discipline to be able to deal with it. Monty, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. He says, is it going to start? I don't know what you mean. So put it in chat, whatever you mean. I will go back to it. So Mindspeak. Mindspeak is just that group's way of saying telepathy. It's telepathy. The cryptids have been doing it for their entire lives. When they use it with us, we are not ready for it. So it turns on our monkey brains and we get scared. We think we hear things in the woods. It's in our head. We think we see shadows. It's in our head. They're communicating. Sometimes you're seeing animals. Sometimes you're hearing birds. There are other things happening, right? They're communicating with us. And that kind of communication, like right now, you not only have audio, you have visual. You see me talking with my hand, I'm talking with my hand to get the point across that audio, visual. You're seeing things as well as hearing them. So when these guys talk to us, they're sending visions, they're sending video to our head, but it's not quite tuned in for us. It's tuned in for them. So when the audio comes through and the emotion comes through, there's that other dimension of communication. Okay. Oh, right there. There's that other dimension of communication, because that's about the concept of a word. If they, I'm going to bring up something else on the screen right here. Okay. I'm getting into it now, in the weeds of this stuff. And I don't want to talk too much because I have kind of a prepared thing here, right? So let's talk about the Dogman. Okay. What people have shown about, reported about the Dogman. And I'm going to just look up, these are things you can look up to, right? So here we go. This is a Google search of Dogman. I'm going to go, what does AI overview? The Dogman is a cryptid, a creature whose existence is not scientifically proven, often described as a large bipedal canine human hybrid, originating from folklore and recent popular culture. Recent, we'll go into that. The Dogman is particularly associated with the state of Michigan, among other places, where numerous sightings and stories have circulated. Okay, now there's more than Dogman. Dog-headed warriors. Let's go back. Recent pop culture. The I don't know how to pronounce this word. Cynocephali or Kenocephaloi were a tribe of dog-headed men native to Africa and India. The name Kynokepelos means dog-headed from the Greek words kuon, dog, and kepelos, head. The legends probably originated in ancient travelers' accounts of African baboons, which were mistaken for a tribe of men. I don't know if that, yeah, okay, mistaken for a tribe of men. Then Egypt. Egypt has the Anubis. That is a deity, but there are many dog-headed warriors. Egyptian god Anubis, the friend of the dead. Yeah, okay. And let's just look at, no, I'm not going to look at that. And also, who's this? Let me read this. Saint Christopher. I will just read this out. Now, these are dogmen in history and lore. In Eastern Orthodox iconography, St. Christopher is sometimes depicted with the head of a dog. The depiction is often linked to the belief in cynocephaly, or dog-headed man, and may stem from a misinterpretation of Canaanite, Canaanus, as canine. The image of St. Christopher with the dog's head is not universally accepted within the Orthodox tradition meaning Catholic, with some factions prescribing it, but it remains a part of the iconic tradition for some. And let me look at yeah, it's just talking about the misinterpretation of it. So I'm going to go over a little bit of where am I at? Here we are. I'm going to go what I heard from Jesse and Joe and go with it here. The rules for Bigfoot do not apply to Dogman. Bigfoot, let's take some of the sighting reports, right? Okay, here in Tennessee, there are Bigfoot sightings. Not too many people report them. It's accepted. It's part of the culture here. If you live out away from a city, it's part of the culture. In East Tennessee is where it's at, y'all. West Tennessee got a few, but East Tennessee got it in droves. Just off of I-40, there is a place called Chestnut Mound and Elmwood. There are two places. Over in Elmwood, there is one that lives on this hillside. And it's a big hillside. It's not just like your backyard. It's acres and acres. There's a woman that lives out there. Hey, Sky. I think I said Sky before. There's a woman that lives out there and has a relationship with this. Her parents had the same relationship with this creature. They leave each other alone. They respect each other's boundaries. That's good. No coyotes go around, and it's out in the woods. No coyotes go around, and no big other predators, bobcats. I don't think we have too many mountain lions around here or bears, but they're here. Just the guy in the backyard keeps them away. I know this person personally. I would love to go talk to her, but she's very private. She doesn't like to talk about it. So, okay, the unknown, West East Tennessee. West, I haven't heard too much. It's pretty developed. West Tennessee is pretty developed. So it's very people-y. East Tennessee. There are people around, but they're all farmer types, agricultural based. There's a lot. Co-op is one of the biggest businesses. Tractor Supply is one of the biggest businesses out there. And they all live in harmony with these guys. I heard about it my entire life. I lived eastern over towards the East Tennessee area, not really in it. I was in one of the more populated areas, Smith County, Carthage area. That's where I used to live. I lived in Elmwood, Chestnut Mound, Carthage, couple other places, communities around there while I was going to high school and just after me getting out of the military. So I heard things, but the humans tend to distract themselves from what goes on around them. And we always had dogs. So nothing really came around here. But here's something, I don't know what they were, but well, rather, I don't know where they came from. We found washing down from the hill whenever it rained claws. These, some of them were this big, some of them were this big, but they were all perfectly curved. They could have been from owls, they could have been from bears. I was about to call the Smithsonian. Oh, I'm glad I didn't. Okay, now I know what's going on with them. But it was something extinct because there are no large predators around there in that area. Not bears. That's north, not east, as far as I know. But they were so big and sharp. Some of them, you'd swear they were pipe washers or pieces of pipes until they went to a tip, and they were very sharp. I wish I still had some. They're still washing down from that hill. I'm sure there are. I wish I was into this like I am now. Then I wish I was into it then like I am now, because man, I was in the thick of it out there. We had so much going on. Ghosts, people would come out there. Somebody went on somebody's property. They thought it was state park or something. And he said he was Wiccan, but he had his face completely painted and he was dressed up in robes and stuff. And the property owner saw them go into their woods, their yard, and called the sheriff, and the sheriff came and run them off. Didn't arrest him as far as I know. And I think there was just a big miscommunication there, honestly. But he was in the right place. He was in the right place because that was where all that stuff goes down. People want to say devil worshippers. They don't understand. And I'm currently trying to find out something that Jesse and Joe brought up. Things that are called the devil's something, like the devil's doorway, the devil's den, or devil's hollow. They don't mean devil like Satan. They mean wood devil. And I want to know what's up with that, especially in this area. Right in the area I am here now. Oh, Aussie is saying like, share, and subscribe if you're here. Your quantum of all the cute kitty videos online, you ended up here, and all the other paranormal channels. And they seem to be all on now. But like and subscribe if you're here. Your quantum. Heck yeah. Thank you, Aussie. Got to keep the host in check. Thanks. All right. But I'm wanting to look up the devil's this or that, the devil's playground, the devil's backyard, etc. I want to look that up because when this place was settled and put together and established, I'm talking the whole state, it was taken from people that had their own, we'd call them cryptids. They called them something else. I'm looking that up. So, and one of the places in town that's weird, and I'm sure it's got cryptid stories too, is Centennial Park, the Parthenon. That is a weird place. It's built on top of a cave entrance. Who does that? Built right on top of a cave entrance. You're not allowed to go in there. There's a story. I've told the story, but you're not allowed to go in there. I went as far as trying to get hired as a security guard there so I would have access, but they weren't hiring. And now it's run by the state, so you have to go through the state. Hey, Rachel, welcome back to the Quantum Show. great to have you here. Also, of course, I'm going to relate this to aliens at some point. We'll see, right? But we are only perceiving what this is, right? 5 senses. And I think it takes that spiritual and psychic awareness to be able to sense these guys, mind speak, telepathy. Okay. And Centennial Park is a nexus. The whole place is weird. I talked to the guy. I said, hey, have you found anything underground yet? He says, what are you talking about? I was wearing my patch jacket. It's up here. It's underneath the other one, right? And it looked like I was some kind of an official or something. And I was like, hey, come over here. Of course, I was probably wearing a Star Trek shirt. And I got him to come over there. He was an excavator operator. And he said that there are people coming around looking for arrowheads and things. And you got the people up the park. And I'm like, no, man, I'm talking about weird stuff. Tablets, stonework, things that we didn't put there. Modern society. He goes, well, I haven't found any, but I know what you're talking about. I'm from here too. I'm like, mm-hmm. Yep. So anyway, I got distracted. That was a little side quest. See, this is why notepads are important. And planning a show. Dogman. Yes, we are talking Dogman. Cryptids, Dogman. I've been concentrating on Bigfoot for 2 shows. So I'm going to go with Dogman tonight. So we've got the Dogman of ancient Greece, where I'm at. We've got, what they call them? Let me read this. Dog-headed icon. Oh, yeah, St. Christopher. Let me go. Dog-headed warriors. Covered dog-headed warriors. Let's look here. There's lots of videos on it. And understanding the dog-headed icon of St. Christopher. Okay. Who are the dog-headed men? Let's look at this. This is from 2017. Hopefully you can see it. This is, okay. Let me make sure you can, yeah, you can see it. Let me maximize this. I will be reading Anubis and his Dogman, right? But I'm going to read, if I can remember how to do this thing. This from May 25th, 2017 by I.C. Sedgwick. Okay. It is a little bit long. I will surmise. I have not looked at this yet. Dog-headed men or cynocephaly are a true curiosity within myth and legend, not to be confused with werewolves. The beings are literally men with dogs' heads. The Greeks named the creatures, apparently taking their inspiration from Egyptian gods. Wait a minute. Greek and Egypt. I would like to know the timeline there. Most famously, Anubis boasts the head of a jackal, although in recent years, scholars realize his head is that of a wolf. The Egyptian jackal is not actually a jackal, but a member of the gray wolf family. Okay, well, that's great. Evidence also suggests the baboon could explain dog-headed myth. I disagree with that. They have canines. Not everything that has we have canines. We're not dogmen here on the Quantum Show, or are we? Dogmen, like and subscribe if you're here, you're Quantum. That said, the confusion over baboons is more closely linked to the Japanese man-faced dog legend. We're concerned about dog-headed men. I feel Anubis deserves his own section since he's the most recognizable example. Crossover into popular culture. The Mummy Returns. Army of Anubis-like creatures. Anubis is often maligned god of dead. It is not a terrifying deity. He is a protector of tombs, patron god of embalmers, and the guide for those coming into the afterlife. That sounds like a dog. Protector, guardian, escort. That's straight up what dogs do. Some believe this form of him came as a jackal in response to the desecration of shallow graves by opportunistic jackals searching for food. He was originally the god of the dead in the Old Kingdom. That role passed to Osiris in the Middle Kingdom. The Greeks and the Romans even associated him with Cerberus and the underworld. It was the figure of Anubis that inspired my own dog-headed men. Okay, he wrote a book, The Necromancer's Apprentice, The Necromancer's Rogue. That's great. He is on Amazon. I will check that out. That's interesting. But okay. I bought so many books I'm going to read forever. Dog-headed men in antiquity. Here we go. Greek physician Ctesias, I guess, wrote about the existence of dog-headed men in India back in the 5th century BC. His report also included unicorn satyrs, the men that reached 18 feet tall. The 2nd century AD satirist actually condemned Ctesias to a specific part of hell reserved for liars, so we can probably ignore his report. Why? If his book had pictures, they would have no doubt included the engraving below. And from left to right, you have a man with a single foot, large foot. You have apparently a cyclops, a two-headed human, what appears to be a guy with the face on his chest and no head, and then you have a dog man. Monstrous Humans by Sebastian Munster. Okay, yeah, here we go. What does this guy say? From left to right shows monopod or sciopod, a female cyclops, conjoined twins. I don't know if that's conjoined. It looks like a two-headed human. Conjoined twins, a blimmy. That's what they're called, blimmy. And cynocephaly. All right, let's just look at the pictures now. I don't need to read all of this stuff. So the cynocephaly effigies. Okay, warrior-like aspect. What would strike fear? And it talks about Christianity, Saint Christopher. Marco Polo even mentions dog-headed men. His Travels, that's a book, something he wrote, talks about cynocephaly living on the Andaman Islands. For Polo, they are barbarians and cruel, likened to mastiffs. This is an interesting development since most depictions use a lupine, dog-like head for the creatures. A Buddhist missionary discusses an island populated by dog-headed men. I am more inclined to believe the Buddhists. The island has been identified both as Japan and the Americas. Intercartography. They didn't note that very well. That links back to the man-faced dog legends of Japan, but it's the first mention of a dog-headed men in America. Could these dog-headed men be ancestors of the Michigan Dogman? First reported in 1887, the Dogman was immortalized in 1987 by a local DJ. There was a song. I'm not going to play it here. It's not open source. There have been over 100 reports of dogman sightings since then. I would like to say there are more. Let's look and see. Okay, then that's the end of the article. Okay, thank you. Goodbye. And I will take this as a note for after the show. Please give me a moment. I'm leaving the links from last week because they're all cryptid links. Yeah. I don't know if you saw my notepad up on the screen or the IC Sedgwick article. Thank you, IC. Shout out IC Sedgwick. Your link will be in the show. Go check him out on Amazon, I suppose. Good work. Top job. So here we go. Okay. All right. I am back. Let's remove that. I am here. Okay. That's me. Now, I'm going to look at other things that I've saved for the show. Got that one saved. Let's look. I did Dog-Headed Men, Dog-Headed Saint, and okay, I need to close that. I need to close Facebook. Thank you. So also shout out. Let me look here. I'm not going to share this, but I just am doing some cleanup that I should have done yesterday. And shout out to Bigfoot Michigan Rob. He is a big cryptid guy. Please go see Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Tell him the Quantum Show sent you. And I'm also looking for Michigan UFO and Paranormal. Shout out Wayne and Michelle. I'm going to put this on screen because that one needs to be in there for sure. Hopefully this will come up all right. Yeah. Shout out Wayne and Michelle. We are a loose confederation of shows. Everybody in the links are people I look at, I go to, I talk to, I message, I email. These are not shows that I'm a fan of. I'm not really a fan. I don't do hero worship. Okay, I'm not hunting for autographs. The people I buy books from, I want them to do well, right? I forget to ask for a signature. They say, "Do you want me to sign it for you?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that." So I got a handful of signed books from these people at the conferences and conventions. So yeah, where was I? Going through links. Okay. And I still want to talk more about Raven, your sighting with Dogman. I have to try to think about this. I have to I have to debunk what it could be before I settle on something that it is. That is everything. The tree. I wanted Bigfoot. I got big tree. You know? So yeah, I mean, I hope you understand. Hope you understand. Wait a minute. Didn't I meant to keep that up there. Hope you understand. I debunk everything. Someone came to me with a UFO report here down the road. They hadn't seen nothing like it. And I just asked them to describe it. And they did. And they said it looked like a pod with slats where wings would be. I said, okay, slat where wings would be. It had lines on the side, she said. I think there was some influence going on, right? So I looked up things. There is a ultralight club here, close to here. It was an ultralight made of clear plastic. And that's what she saw. It was, she was able to see through it. I'm sure it was, yeah. Right. I do too. There was a sighting in Maryland, and I saw it on a Facebook video. There was a guy looking out his back door. Out his back door, there was a light pole with a dim yard light or something, kind of like the one I got out here, but it was higher up. So let's say it was 12 feet tall. Okay. There was an image of what looked like a dogman or a werewolf bent backwards knees, very top heavy, very muscular, walk right past it under the light but it had a ghostly look to it. And all he did was say, nope, 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 and shut the door. Nope, nope, nope. And that was in Maryland. Yeah, Samo, I think you're right. But in today's time, if we saw a guy with a dog's head, we would freak out and run. The muggles would. Don't freak out and run when you see a dog-headed man, Samo. Tell him to get on here. Give him your cell phone. Tell him, go to YouTube. Go to the Quantum Show. The guy would love to talk to you, because I would. If I had the ability to have a dog man here on show, or me to go, and they would agree to interview, what is it going to take? I would do it. I wouldn't be. I'd be scared, of course. Who wouldn't be scared? Because they're like apex predators. So I hear. I would love to interview a dog man. Wouldn't that be awesome? Even if it's a surreptitious interview where I have the phone here, no video, but audio is being recorded. Oh, that would be cool. I would love to interview with the dog man. Only here on the Quantum Show. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Dogman, like and subscribe. If you're here, you're Quantum. Well, I already knew you were Quantum. Well, I don't know about that. I'm pretty sure a dogman is all the time what he is, and a werewolf is a totally different thing from some kind of lore. Not just hairstyles. Hope you like that, Sam. Hope you like that, Samo. What? Dormant Dogman has a bone to pick. Picking the bone with the Dogman here on the Quantum Show. Love it. Yeah. I don't think so. I think it would be mind speak, because remembering the story of, oh my God, I can't even remember it. The Dogman from Kentucky, his dad brought him home as a puppy. Rascal. I need that link. I need to get that link. Let's put it up here. Rascal. What a story. The guy's dad was in the Air Force, and they were processing dogmen. They were euthanizing them from a certain section of woods somewhere else. I want to say northeast, like Michigan maybe. And he brought a puppy home. It was a big puppy. He said it looked like a German Shepherd with raccoon hands, and it grew up and it kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it got to 9 feet tall. Could you imagine? But they grew him up and they took care of him. The Unknown. Oh, yeah. Dude, I've listened to several different interviews about that guy, right? Let me tell you, Tennessee, Kentucky, Missouri, when you're in the woods, you don't leave the woods. A lot of these people do not leave the woods. I can't say I 100% believe the story of that guy's story from Kentucky. However, I can't say I disbelieve it either. That is such a great... I've heard him tell different things. And yeah, he's older now. So he's a little bit older than I am. And Rascal lived and died in Kentucky. And the funniest thing was, a guy tried to break into the house, and Rascal was there, and he scared he just silently jumped across the room. The guy saw him and took off, right? And Rascal followed him, ran him up a tree, and ripped his pants off of him. So he was scared to death in the tree. They called the sheriff. He came out there. Rascal was sitting down, not 9 foot tall at this point, but sitting down, maybe 5 feet tall. And the sheriff says, yeah, they grow them big around in these parts. Where would it come from? Where would a story like that come from? Who would want to make up a story like that? There are better stories to make up, like stories about the police, stories about the electric company, the phone company, fighting with the gas company. They're all monopolies in these areas. Why would anybody make up that story? Why would I make up stories about the Mantis people, me cold calling them, and they pick up the hallway phone. Okay. That's not what I gathered from that. I mean, the people that were telling this story, they seemed willing to talk, but they weren't going out and hunting attention, as far as I could tell. Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff out here. There's a lot of that stuff out here. Yeah. Side note, I am seeking psilocybin treatments because I was having a really bad time last week or so ago, right? And I asked the VA about psilocybin. This is the end of the show. I'm about to play this really cool video the Unknown made. I like it. I'm going to play. It's 3 minutes, so hang in there, okay? He did a really good job. And well, I'm looking at psilocybin treatments. I'm not looking to trip. I've got the clarity mushroom stuff right here. I don't need trippy. I'm not that. I don't look for a buzz anymore. I just don't. I used to, but I don't. So, yeah, and also I want to connect the broken parts so I can process better. I want to perceive. I have. And okay, the Unknown. Listen, I don't know about every other story, but that story was totally fictional. Okay. It's really riveting. I do, the Unknown. Okay. I'm going to go through the comments right now. I've covered what I wanted to cover. Wildman Conference in a week. I'm going to be doing short videos just like I did for the Bigfoot Conference in Gatlinburg, right? Have you seen the video where they tested LSD on British soldiers? I have not. I want to go see that. And the Unknown. I can tell you one part. When he beat up a shadow figure and there was a shadow figure blood everywhere for one thing. I didn't hear that story. But okay, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Shadow figure blood? Is it shadow blood? Okay. Sky, I'm not going to Oregon. I'm not going to go to Oregon. And I'm sure everyone here will. If anyone doesn't know who Paul Harvey is, you've heard him on the radio if you've listened at all to things like Art Bell or anything, or the other Coast to Coast, right? So I'm going to call it, this is the Quantum Show. Panel comes up in, you know the deal, 20, 30 minutes, depending on what it takes. So thank you, Monty. I will check that. I will check that after the show. Okay. Now, I've said this in an outro video. So let's have a watch. Thanks, everybody, for coming to the Quantum Show. If you hear your quantum, I'm going to start pushing a different button, and then that will outro us. Shout out everybody. Renee, Tim, Sky, Monty, Unknown. Who we got here? Samo, Tim, Aussie, of course. Sky, I think I said you, Sky. I'll say it again. Rachel, our very own OB2. That's Rachel, OB2. Yeah, I think that was everybody. Yeah, everybody's at the other shows. That's okay. I will see you in a few minutes. Let's play outro. Enjoy.
It started not with a thunderclap, but a whisper. A gentle noticing of things the world around him wasn't ready to explain. A distant light hovering where none should, a footprints appearing where snow lay untouched, radios that crackled with voices in the dead of night. Where friends laughed, he took notes. Where neighbors turned away, he leaned in, quiet as moonlight. From that tinkering curiosity, he crafted a channel, not to sell something or to dazzle with spectacle, but to hold a ledger of the inexplicable. He trained a camera on the edges of the map, into the swamp's murmurs, down empty highways where travelers' sightings drift, and around campfires where elderly witnesses share stories unfit for the evening news. He learned to ask the questions most people wouldn't dare, and he learned to listen, really listen, to the answers most would rather pretend didn't exist. Instead of burying his notebook, he pressed the record button. He turned his intrigue into episodes. His curiosity grew into live streams. Those live streams blossomed into gatherings, quiet communities of people convinced, even if they couldn't prove it, and that they weren't wholly alone in their questions. Through chat rooms and viewer call-ins, he built a refuge. Some found comfort in his calm. Others found a platform for their unsettling memories. Many emerged from silence to speak, supported by a steady, humble presence behind the lens. He's had the skeptics. He's had the mockers calling names. And the cynics, always armed with their clipboards of what must be. But there were nights when the chat buzzed with heckles and mornings when the first sound he heard was the ping of a lone subscriber gifting, "Thank you." He trod through conference floors crowded with proselytizers and chalk believers, bored dubbers. "Thank you." Calmly offering what shouldn't be forgotten. What did you see? When? Who else was there? He never promised certainty. He never sold miracles. He presented fragments interviews, blurry footage, an old tape here, a photograph there, and he invited us to examine them, to wonder, in a world hungry for answers. That is a rare faith, not faith in any one story, but faith in the person standing here saying, "This happened to me." So he keeps going, on chasing leads through trailer, park front yards, and hillside haulers, through crowded conference rooms and late-night diners. And he speaks softly amid a world that blares, and somehow that soft voice becomes a gathering. They call in with videos. They send photos. They stay because he gives them a stage. A single microphone gave him a voice, and his voice gave others room. Whether you agree or whether you think these are shadows and signals misread, there's a pattern here, a man driven not by belief, but by curiosity, by odd moments, and by a community united by their refusal to stop asking. He's not a scientist. He's not a preacher. He is a collector of stories. And stories, messy, contradictory, fleeting, are the clay from which we shape what we come to believe. Whether it's a light in the sky, a step in the woods, or a voice when the world should be silent, someone is seeing it, and someone is telling it. And so he keeps the light on, the camera rolling, the chat open, the question alive. And now, you know the beginning of the story of Nathan from the Quantum Show.